It's been mentioned in the comments about Land Rovers and hard starting, and it is quite common. But what is it? Well, generally speaking, well, I would have to say about 90% of the times the hard starting is down to a fuel problem. You can't get fuel into the engine, or alternatively, fuel, instead of coming this way into your lift pump, is actually draining back overnight because the valves inside the pump have got debris or dirt underneath them, and they can't get they let the fuel back down the line. And when you're hard starting and cranking, what it means is it's trying to now pump back up the line. So instead of using that little lift pump to wanky the fuel up as you do, you're using the engine to crank. Now that only cranks once every 2 revolutions, so you can imagine how many turns you're going to have to do to get the fuel into the engine. So that's why it spins over quite fast. These Delphi lift pumps are quite good because they've got a little filter here in the top, and that filters fuel out coming from the tank before it gets into your fuel filter, so it is quite good. However, it can also get neglected and not looked after, not looked at, should I say, and they can get dirt on the top of the filter, and that's another cause for hard starting because it just cannot get enough fuel in. Now it should be noted that on diesels there is no filter on the pickup pipe in the tank. Very important. The reason for that is in winter the fuel can be so thick that it cannot get through the strainer that's on the end of the pickup pipe. So if you've converted from a petrol engine to a diesel, there's one thing you should look at: pull the filter off. So we're assuming that we've got a line all clean all the way from the tank to the lift pump, and there's no kinks or anything like that, and the same in the return line, there's no kinks or nips or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a screwdriver out and we're going to take the top off that filter. I've just got a little bit of a flashlight coming on down here, but this is one thing to note. You've got your screwdriver and you've taken off the screw, but look at all that dirt here that's come out of the screw. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get the airline and blow that off so we don't get it into the filter and make even more problems. So next I'll take off the cover. Now you should be able to see inside the filter, and you can see there's a little bit of dirt. I don't know what that was. So without taking it out, there might be diesel everywhere, but just put a little bit of air and clean that up, because if you do it like that, that's really clever because the fuel that's underneath will blow back and blow up and wash the filter out like that. That's a clever trick, isn't it? Like that. Right, so the next thing, we've checked that out, and I think looking at the fuel filter, it's about time for a new one. Airline, regulator, tyre filler, inflator. Now you can just put a regular little chuck on there, but it's sometimes wise to put the regulator, instead of being on the wall, put it onto the actual tool yourself. So what we're going to do now is put this on. We've set it to 5 psi, and we're just going to put some pressure in that tank. Hopefully we can't see any more air come out of it. And then we're going to have a run up to the front to see if it's bleeding through. So I put some pressure in the tank. Not much, but look what happened. I was looking around to see where there was any leaks, and this, I just touched it with my finger and the bloody thing snapped off. So maybe what was happening, it's so brittle. It honestly just pushed it off of my finger like this. It was wet, so that's got me worried, you know, when I was looking for the leaks. This is a water separator at the back. Not sure if it's a particularly good idea, but anyway, it's got one. But I'm not sure if it's working or not. And now I'm in a bit of a dilemma as to what to do, because this is the feed pipe from the tank. It's got a piece of plastic piping on that goes to this unit here. Now, if you can see it there, I don't have much luck with taking those apart. They usually break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this fitting here and this fitting here and see if I can join the two together and bypass that, because it wouldn't surprise me if that's full of water. This thing here is full of water and rust. Let's have a look. Here's one of those little mysteries that you can never understand. The car's running, yet the pipe's off the pump, and there's nothing coming out of it. I think the pump's shot. Perhaps that's why we couldn't get it started. So I just put another filter on it, and there's no, I don't know how it's getting fuel. It must be sucking it up through the return somehow. I'm going to change that pump. What on earth's it about? So, I got the pump off. There's it. That's it there. Ugly piece of crap. This is supposed to be a Delphi pump, but I don't believe it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something that you shouldn't do at home, children, and something you should only do at the side of the road. I'm going to clean up the, I've moved the inlet round a little bit, should be one over the top of the other, and I'm going to blow down it. So where's the air coming out of? It's passing air somewhere, that means it's not sucking. Now listen, can you hear it? Clicks and all sorts of stuff going on. Let's compare that with a new one. This is a new one. There's the inlet and there's the outlet. Can almost play a tune. And this is what it should sound like. Yeah, man. Get with that crazy rhythm. So obviously the pump probably was the cause of our problems. And also at the back we had so many problems with this fuel system. It's unbelievable. The pipe had broke at the back. The damned, what's it called, water separator, well, that's almost block solid. You see, there's no really need for, in North America, I mean, perhaps if you go to somewhere very wet, but North America, you don't really need a water separator. There's not that much water in the fuel. So, I don't know. So what I've done is I've linked it all the way through. So straight from the tank, straight through the pump, up to the filter, we should be okay. But how that ran with the fuel pipe off, that's a mystery. Arthur C. Clarke. So I'm going to apply a bit of pressure to the fuel tank and see if it will come through. Problem is, I can't see what's going on at the other end. Is there anything? Well, we'll put there's fuel there, but I don't know. I still think there's something blocked in this system. Could be wrong. So I'm going to put the pipes back on, then we'll take it from there. So with the new pump on, I'm going to give this a start up. Now, starting up a diesel engine after it's had the injector pipes off, because you've got to take the injector pipes to put the pump on, usually takes a bit of cranking, but let's see how it goes. That wasn't bad, was it? I must be doing something right. Just to make sure our pump's running fine, let's zoom on in here and let's have a diesel bath. There we go. Oh, look at that, that's where it should be coming out like. Look at that, diesel everywhere. It was nowhere near like that before. It wouldn't even come out the bloody filter. What a mess. There goes my light on the floor. That's another one broken. If anybody wants to subscribe and buy me a light or two, feel free. I'm desperate for lights and paper towel. So I think we've got that. Sorted. It runs nice. Yeah. Why would it run with the fuel pipe off? That's a mystery, eh? Never seen that before, but it drove all the way from Montreal, like 230 kilometres. So I don't know, it's a mystery, but there was definitely something amiss with that fuel pump. And that's probably why we had a hard starting problem. It couldn't get fuel through. So anyway, that's me signing off for today. I'm going to go and see Mr. Jameson's, or he's coming to see me, and then we'll have another day tomorrow of trauma. Talk to you later. Bye. To make the pressure cap for your diesel tank, you're going to need preferably a new gas cap, or fuel. I can't call them gas caps now. A new fuel cap. And what you're going to do is just take it to bits. All right, it's quite easy to take to bits. First of all, you'll have an assembly. I'm not going to put it all together quite yet, but I'll show you. You're going to have an assembly sort of like this. There'll be two screws here. Take those off, get that out. Then there'll be a little metal locking bar like that. Throw that away. Next, you're going to have to prise off this metal disc with a rubber cover on. This is the gasket for the tank. You might bend it, so warm up the cap first. If you do bend it, well, just put it on a flat surface and hammer it back again. It'll come nice. Then you'll get to this bit. This is the bit we need, really. It's held in by a key, but unfortunately the key's got a pin in it that locks it into place and you can't get it out, so you've got to drill it out very carefully. I drilled it from the back by centre punching right in the centre and then just progressively getting bigger and bigger with drills, and then this bit comes out with any damage. These are the preferable fuel caps to use. This is a different type. I don't know if you can see. I'll get a bit closer so you can see. There's got some holes around here. There to vent the tank. On this type there isn't. It seems to be okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill out the centre of this to take a valve. A tyre valve, a regular tyre valve. Now a regular tyre valve is about this long, alright, and you know it's got a rounded end. This is one just a little bit longer, alright. The longer the better. You can get them even longer still, but longer the better. And what I did was I just put it in the grinder, this one here, and I just buffed off till it was a bit flat. And when we come back to put it together, I'll explain why we did it like that. So I drilled the hole out 1/2 inch, and with this flat on here, that will fit into there, and that, make sure it's just raised a little bit, alright, so it'll act like a gasket. Now we can put it back together again. So you want to put that piece in here, and the 2 little self-tapping screws in the bottom. Like so. These are called wave washers. They're like a big spring. Put that in the bottom. I like to get a little bit of Vaseline out. So, and then I put a little bit of Vaseline on that seal here, just so it helps it move around a bit. Pop the seal on, like that. Now, this is how this comes here, but I've already got an old one. I've drilled a hole in it. I drilled a hole in the middle to let the air out. So hopefully this one will fit. So I'll put this one on so I don't have to drill it twice. And then put the screws back in. Yeah, a bit fiddly. Especially when you've got Vaseline on your fingers. Ooh. Wait a minute, where's that on? Oh. Dear me. Might have to come back to this. There we go. So that is a fuel filler cap converted to a bleeding cap. Bleeding thing, eh? So make sure those screws are tight because you don't want them to drop in the gas tank. And now look at that. You can put air onto here, clinch this up, put air onto here, fill your tank up, 5 psi, maybe 6, and then we can start to bleed it out.